Two old guys and records, one old guy for now, as Michael decided when we'll return to the studio for some new segments. But until then, we press on with some fun segments about our love and our passion for our records. Yes, welcome to Top 5 Tuesdays, where I delve deep into my singles collection, my 7-inch record singles, and try to find 5 singles from one artist and then rank them. Yes, it seems easy, but it's not to have 5 singles off the same artist. But for today's episode, we're going back to one incredible group that started off in the 1960s, mid-1960s. They were part of the British invasion of the US. They pushed boundaries by moving rock music into rock operas. I'm talking about none other than I'm a substitute for another guy. The Who. Can you get a more complete band than The Who? With guitar maestro Pete Townsend on guitar. You've got the manic drummer Keith Moon. You got Wonderlungs Roger Daltrey. And you've got that bass slapping John Entwistle. Can you get a better band than this? Let's go through my top 5, starting at number 5, The Who and Won't Get Fooled Again. What an incredible single. I put it at number 5, even though it's one of my favorite songs, to make a point about how record companies butcher great songs. Now, this was meant to be in the Lifehouse project. It was a rock opera that Pete Townsend was writing, but it never eventuated, so it ended up on Who's Next, the album. Yes, now the album did gangbusters. It went to sort of, top the charts, and on the basis of this great song. Yes, but when it was released as a single, the 8-minute version that's on the album, where you've got the synthesizer, breaking there, and then Keith Moon's drums come in, and then that one of the most memorable screams in rock music, sort of powers with Roger Daltrey. A lot of all that synthesizer and the drumming type is being cut away. So, from 8 minutes we get to 3.5 minutes. Can you believe that? And there's a great story in the inspiration of this song too, because the Who were playing Woodstock, and they were slotted into play at 5 a.m. in the morning, so the band was in no mood, not in a good mood. And then when Abby Hoffman, the activist, got on stage unannounced, interrupted their set for a political rant, Pete Townsend was furious, mixing politics with music. And he was very, very cynical about this change that this, summer of, 67 or 66, whatever it was, this flower power was about to do. No, it wasn't. He was very cynical because, the new boss is same as the old boss. What a line from Won't Get Fooled Again. This is my number 5 because it should have been higher, but the record company butchered it. So that is it. Yes, at number 4. Happy Jack wasn't told, but he wasn't bad. At number 4, yes, we have a very, very quirky and odd single called Happy Jack. Now, it comes from 1966. Okay, it's got an odd, rhythm and beat. It reflects an odd persona, Jack, who plays around on the beach with all these kids, and the kids tease him and all of that. And of course, the film clip is hilarious too, with a very, very quirky and odd storyline. So everything about it is very, very strange. Now, a lot of autobiographical details. Pete Townsend's family used to go to the Isle of Man for holidays, and there was a Jack on the beach who used to play with the kids. So that's where the inspiration came from. Now, when Roger Daltrey first came into the studio and heard the song, he thought, what is this song, he thought it reminded him of a German Oompa band type of song, and he just couldn't imagine singing this. So he sort of imagined Burl Ives from Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and then sang it like Burl would sing it, and that's how he got it. Now, one of the classic moments is when in the song where Pete Townsend says, "I see ya," and that is a reference to Keith Moon, because Keith Moon was banished from the studio because he used to make, Pete and Roger and John laugh all the time. So he was banished, and he was trying to sneak in, and Pete, shouts out, "I see ya," and it was part of the cut. It made the cut. So a highlight. This was, strangely enough, their first US hit, which is incredible. It made it to number 3 in the UK, number 1 in Canada, but it also was a hit in the US. That's my number 4. Now for number 3. Number 3, I'm a Boy, from 1966. It was meant to be part of this rock opera Quads, but the opera didn't actually eventuate, so it made it as a single. And yes, it's about a dystopian society where the parents can choose the sex of their children. They choose for 4 girls, but they get 3 girls and 1 boy, and the boy is imploring them that he is a boy. The chorus says, "But I'm a boy, and my ma won't admit it. I'm a boy, and if I say it, I get it." Yes, so this boy wants to play cricket. He wants to play in the mud. He wants to cut himself. He wants to ride his bike, but he's not allowed to. So it's looking at masculinity at the time. Yes. Now this was a great song. I love Daltrey's vocals. He sings it as if he's quite insecure. There's a story behind that too, because he had a bit of a fight with Keith Moon and walked out on the band, comes back and he's feeling a little bit insecure. So he sings it from an 8-year-old's type of voice. So that's amazing also. Now this, went to number 2 in the UK, but I don't think the USA was ready for a song which talks about masculinity and a boy wanting to be a boy, even though there's all these girls around him. That's my number 3. Number 2. Number 2, yes, it's actually a cover version, and it's Summertime Blues, the old Eddie Cochran song written by him and his manager Jerry Capewell. It's off the Live at Leeds album, so it's a live version from 1970. Now, you'll probably say, what is a live version of a song doing at number 2? But it's such a great version. Now, there's a bit of a story behind it, because The Who had just finished Tommy, which was a rock opera, and they wanted to go back to their rock and roll roots, and they created the iconic live album Live at Leeds, because they just, stacked more amps upon amps upon amps, and they created one of the loudest concerts ever done. At the time, they reckoned it was probably the loudest. So yeah, I love, his power, Pete Townsend's power chords. It is a great version. Love Roger Daltrey's passion behind it. It was a top 30 hit in the USA, top 40 hit in the UK. What an amazing cover version, and a great version. The Who make it their own on this one. Thank you. And our number 1 is...
Put us down just because we get
Number 1, My Generation. Can there be any other song that represents The Who much better than this? This is The Who at their best. Yes, what an anthem for all youth. I'm sure it became an anthem for the counterculture of the mod movement in England at the time, yes, but it was also universal in the way, people trying to put us down, talking about my generation, just because we get around talking about my generation. I love the call and response technique there that comes from the blues. Yes, I also loved Roger Daltrey's stutter, and of course there's another blues influence there from John Lee Hooker's stuttering blues. What an effect by Roger Daltrey. It is fast, it is aggressive. This is probably the 60s version of punk music, Right. Yes, and of course, you've got John Entwistle's bass solo, one of the first bass solos in a rock song. There is so much to like about it. This is the Who on the big stage. I love one of the greatest lines in rock history is, "I hope I die before I get old." But of course, they got older, and it's quite ironic because Keith Moon dies in 1978 at the age of 32. So that prophetic line rings truth in the case of Keith Moon. But Pete Townsend sort of said that line was really about old, really meant rich, not really about age. But there you go. But My Generation, what a fantastic song, what a fantastic band. That's the Who. I will see you next Tuesday with another Top 5 Tuesday. See you then.